Peace everyone, Unmask Art here, and welcome back to another impromptu colored pencil live stream. I bet most of you weren't expecting me to stream today. I wasn't expecting to stream today, but I enjoyed streaming so much yesterday, hanging out with everybody, getting to chat, that I decided, you know what, that's what I'm going to do today too. So, as you can see, from yesterday, after we finished the face, I worked on the background a little bit. I'm not totally complete on the background. I kind of wanted to leave a little bit undone around the edges of the hair so that I can work the hair and the background kind of simultaneously. But I'm going to start on this side of the hair. That's the plan for today. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. And you guys are more than welcome to ask as many questions as you want. And I'm just going to try to get started. This is going to be a very different way that I've approached hair from the past. I usually use solvent. I usually do like base layers and whatnot, but I'm not using solvent on this project, although it does seem to be very enticing as I've used it for so long. Oh hey Chrissy, Chandri, Papia, Gazpool, hopefully I'm saying that somewhat correct. Welcome, good to see all of you lovely people in the chat. I hope everyone is having a good weekend so far. My wife decided to go over to her mom's house today, so I was either going to sit here by myself all day and do nothing, or jump on YouTube, do a bit of live stream, do a little bit of drawing, and just hang out with you guys. And of course, that sounds a lot more fun than doing nothing by myself. So here I am. I just made a fresh cup of tea, so I am ready to do this. I'm gonna do like one small chunk of hair at a time. The main part that I'm gonna focus on right now is kind of this section here. So all of this section here, that's kind of where I'm gonna focus for right now. And like I said, I never tried to do hair the way that I'm about to try it. So this could either go really well or really bad. We'll see. Oh, that's good to hear. Oh, I'm sorry to hear you're not feeling too well, Sergio. Hope you get better. Just relax and hang out in the stream, I guess. Yesterday, I actually bought some new art supplies. Of course, I have to wait for them to come in the mail, but I'm going to be trying a few different new papers. And Sergio, that Lennox 100 that you recommended yesterday, I've never tried it before, so I went ahead and I ordered some of that. What else did I order? I ordered like 3 or 4 different papers, some more Strathmore, some Stonehenge, that Lennox 100 that you mentioned, and then I don't know, some other stuff. And then I also ordered a 12 pack, that the 12 piece set of the Polychromos pencils, because I've been kind of playing around with the idea of doing a similar series like what I do for Prismacolor, what I do for pastels. So the Peaceful Pastel series, and I did get a question about the Peaceful Pastel series right when I ended the stream that I didn't get to. asking me if I was going to do another episode. And yeah, I'll do more Peaceful Pastel episodes. Just been a little busy the last month and a half with the new website. But I'm going to use the 12 piece set of polychromos to do a series on colored pencils, because I haven't done a colored pencil series, so I figured why not. And I'm going to kind of do like entry-level colored pencil series like I did with the pastels. And so yeah, that's going to be something that comes up in the new year that I plan on doing. I also got, I'm trying to think of what else I got. I think I got a blade for my pencil sharpener. That's one thing. Because I think I've been using the same blade for like 2 years now. So I think it's about time that I change it. It is starting to slow down a little bit at the speed in which it sharpens. It still works perfectly fine, but it's just I can tell it's getting a little worn down. So I figured might as well upgrade it. Oh, hey, Mache, good to see you. Good to see you. And anybody else that I might have missed coming into the chat. Sherry, I see you. Can't stay long, that's no problem. Glad you were able to stop in and say hello. Drawing looks great, thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's coming together pretty nicely so far. Let's see if I can continue to make it look nice, putting in the hair. Hair can be one of those really intimidating parts of a portrait a lot of people struggle with. I've done some tutorials on hair, done many tutorials on hair actually, and as long as I maintain the direction, the hair flow, and I get some good contrast, I should be in good shape for having a good looking hair. So as long as I don't break my own rules, whether I use solvent or not, it shouldn't be an issue. To try to get the right contrast and all of that. I also have the Tombow mono eraser. I'm gonna try this out a little bit for some of the flyaways and pulling out some of the lighter hairs that show up and whatnot. So I'll try a few different tricks. I also have my craft knife. Now I've seen several tutorials on YouTube, and I've seen several artists using a blade to scratch highlights into the colored pencil work. And I've tested it on several different papers. I've tested it with Prismacolor Luminance and Polychromos. I've tested it with several different pencils on different paper, and I cannot get the craft knife to do anything what I see on other people's artwork. Like, I don't know. I must be missing something. Because I've went as far as like cutting through the paper to try to scrape up the colored pencil to make those highlighted hairs, and I can't get it to work. Drives me absolutely crazy. Oh, thank you so much, Uva Saad. I appreciate that. You stay safe as well. Colored pencils are also a lot of fun, so if you enjoy, I don't know if you've already worked with colored pencils, but if I've gotten you into pastels, then maybe I can also get you into colored pencils. I'm working on a new reference photo for a pastel project that we're going to be doing over in the art club. That will be the next project. Currently, we're working on a portrait of a cat. I think I mentioned that yesterday. But the next project's going to be a landscape, a winter landscape with some mountains, a cabin, a little lake, and a decorated tree. I hope you get some colored pencils for Christmas, Sherry. Yeah, that would be a nice way to start the new year. Like I said, I'm going to be starting. So the projects, also the projects that I'm going to be doing in the art club, I'm going to involve just the 12-piece set of polychromos. So we're going to switch for a couple projects at least from using the Prismacolor set to just the 12 pack of polychromos. So make sure you get that on your Christmas list before too long, because it's only like $20. You can get that 12 pack, and we'll all have the same exact colors. We'll only have 12 colors, but I want to do a few projects with just those 12 colors, because when you are forced to mix your colors in order to get the colors you need, you learn a lot doing that. It's really beneficial, and so that's why I want to do a few projects with just those limiting colors, so that everybody is kind of forced to just work with those same colors and get that experience of mixing and layering. With using the blade, do I think there needs to be a lot of layers? I don't know. I've tried it with a few layers. I've tried it with a lot of layers. I've tried it several times. We're gonna see. We're gonna see before the end of the day if it ends up working for me at all. There's a few hairs that come down across her face that I might try to put in, but I'm gonna be working really slow on the hair for now, and I probably won't. I don't know how long it's going to take for me to get all the way up here to put in those few little hairs. But I'm going to try it down here. There's a few hairs that I want to scrape out eventually down here, so who knows? We'll see. We'll see. Right now I'm just kind of filling in the shapes of the dark areas of the hair, kind of. See, I'm trying to leave some of those bright hairs, and then I'm going to cover them up with the lighter brown and whatnot. Okay, Sherry, you take care. I'm your favorite YouTuber? Well, thank you, Alicia. I appreciate that. Good morning to you as well. Yeah, I'm glad you were able to catch the live stream also. It's always a pleasure having all of you guys here. So it was a lot of fun yesterday. I had a good day yesterday thanks to all of you. So hopefully I'm not working too slow that I bore anybody, but there's really no good option to working fast with colored pencils. You're just not going to get the results you want. So maybe once you see the pace that I have to work in order to produce work like this, you'll understand a little bit better as to what it actually takes to be good at colored pencils. Let's see here. I think I'm going to try a little bit of this color. Yeah, absolutely. You know, you don't have to wait around for any of the tips. If you have any specific questions or anything that you feel like you're struggling with your art, I'm more than happy to give you some insight or advice or whatever it is. Whatever I can do to help you along the way, I am more than happy to do that. And by all means, if any fellow artists, which I know there's many in the chat, if you feel like sharing your Instagram and getting some feedback from other people in chat, feel free to do that. Of course, do it within reason. Don't spam everybody, but you're more than welcome to share your work a little bit in chat so people can check it out. Using Crayola colored pencil for now, yeah, I would advise against that. If you want to immediately improve your colored pencil work, then you're going to want to get something that's artist quality. The Crayola brand they're not designed for artists. They're not designed for doing the kind of work like what I'm doing here. And they'll limit your capabilities significantly. Now, you don't have to go out and buy the most expensive colored pencils that are made. And like I was describing, I don't know if you were in the live stream yet, but starting with the new year, I just purchased a 12 pack of these pencils here. These are Polychromos, Faber-Castell Polychromos. And you can get a 12 pack of these pencils for about $20, which if I know you can get like a 64 pack of the Crayolas for like maybe $10 or even less than that. But you really pay for what you get. And I think $20, I mean, it's still pretty pricey for only 12 pencils. But they're 12 pencils that you can learn with. You can't really learn from the Crayola brand. So I would, try to get just the small pack of any professional level pencils is going to make a huge difference in your work. And you don't need a million colors to, progress well. And I'll be doing projects with the 12 pack so you can see what their capabilities are in the next few months. I'll be doing that. I'll try to share those videos as well when I finish those projects. Make short narrated tutorials with those pencils. I was thinking about doing the same thing with pastel pencils. Pastel pencils are super easy to mix and get all kinds of colors with just a few pencils, so it's even easier than colored pencils. But with colored pencils, you have a lot more range of paper that you can use. And with pastel pencils, you only got one paper choice and it's really expensive, so. How far can the Faber-Castell get you? They can get you as far as you want to go. You don't, honestly, I'm drawing this with all Faber-Castell pencils, so unless you want to go beyond this in some way, I don't know how. I don't know how you do, personally, but you don't really need any other pencils. I think you can probably manage with just the Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils and be satisfied with the level of work that you can produce with them. There's the Polychromos they're more translucent, and they're often referred to as the oil-based pencils in comparison to the Prismacolor and the Luminance pencils, which are also very popular brands. But at the end of the day, you can produce the same quality of work with either of those three brands of pencils. Just depends on how you use them and how much effort you put into it. The Pitt pencils are really nice. Yeah, for pastel pencils. Those are good pencils. I like them. I think if anybody were to ask what I would recommend for starting out with pastel pencils, I would always go with the Carbothellos. Now the benefit of the Pitt pencils is that they are much easier to sharpen than the Carbothellos, but I like the color range of the Carbothellos a lot, and their softness allows them to just blend just a bit easier, noticeably easier, actually. But at the end of the day, they're both really good sets, and I would recommend the Pitt pencils for second place for sure. Oh, thank you, Unuka. Appreciate that. I'm not sure if I'm getting the color of the hair exactly the way that I want it. I went maybe just a little bit too heavy on the yellow. My strategy was to kind of do one section at a time, similar to what I'm doing now, and kind of get it completely done. But I think I'm going to leave it like 70% done instead, and maybe just try to work each section to that 70% complete, and then rework it all at once. I think that's what I'll do. It's not quite dark enough, so I'll go. Do I want to do black? Yeah, I'll do a little bit of black, I think. Just add a tiny bit of black to those really dark areas of the hair. Real quick, I'll just mention that at no point am I ever pressing hard at all with these pencils. Most of you probably know my number one rule with colored pencils. So, as a little test, I'll just ask those of you in chat, what's my number one rule with colored pencils? Oh, thank you, Chrissy, so much for the super chat. That is so appreciated. You are forever welcome to all of the tips and tricks and trade secrets of all of my artwork. I genuinely appreciate all of your support that you always give me. You are a true friend. And congratulations on finally pulling the trigger on starting your Patreon page. That is super exciting. I wish you all of the success in the world. And for those of you in chat that don't yet know Chrissy, that's Xrist Art in the chat there. Be sure to go over to her YouTube channel. Share your love with her. The queen of pastels, as we like to call her in the Unmask family. And subscribe to her channel, and then if you're interested in learning pan pastels or just pastels in general, she is also a very wonderful resource for you to check out over on Patreon. So be sure to show her your support. Have I ever thought about doing portraits? I'm slightly confused by that question, as I am working on a portrait right now. Portraits are one of my favorite subjects to do. I love drawing them. I love painting them. So I do portraits all the time, and I will always be doing portraits throughout, because they're my favorite subject. In fact, the next project, the next colored pencil project, after we finish the Crystal Bear in the art club, is going to be a portrait, as it was requested. Thankfully, it was requested. I love the portrait requests. Have I ever thought becoming an art teacher? I am an art teacher. It's what I do for a living. You guys are pretty close with the number one rule of colored pencils. It's pretty close, but I say it the same way every time. The number one rule with colored pencils is never press harder than what is necessary for the color to show up. Never press harder than what is necessary for the color to show up. That is the number one rule of colored pencils. Pressing hard in order to cover the paper faster, to make the color darker faster, whatever excuse you might have at the time that you press too hard, I can assure you it will not benefit you. Not nearly as much as never breaking rule number one. And there's more to it than just the fact that it saves your hand from ever hurting. I can draw with colored pencils for a day, and my hand will never hurt or get crampy or ache in any way whatsoever. And it's because I don't break rule number one. The other reasons that you should never press hard, aside from it not hurting your hand, is because it also prevents you from damaging the paper. See, when you press really hard with a tip like that into the paper, you're not just applying the color, you're actually changing the structure of the paper. You're going to add dips, and like if you press real hard and you add a circle, that circle will always be there and you will never be able to correct it. You'll never be able to cover it either. It's like if I were to take a sharp, or like my fingernail, and I push really hard into the paper, that line that I create by indenting the paper will always be there. And I'll never be able to hide it, no matter how many layers I put over it. And so that's another reason why you never want to press hard, because you don't want, unless you're going for a specific look where you want those indents into the paper, in which case I would highly recommend you using a better tool than the tip of a pencil for that. But unless you want those indents, those etchings into the paper itself, you don't want to push that hard into the paper, because the paper's texture, if it's a good paper, will be very uniform. There won't be any unique distinctions in the texture, allowing you to get smooth, consistent artwork on top of it. But as soon as you start pressing hard, you're going to start changing the surface of the paper, and you're going to get weird artifacts showing up in your work. So that's another reason you don't want to press really hard. And then of course there's the obvious, the harder you press, the more you're going to have to sharpen your pencil. That's annoying. Nobody likes to sharpen pencils, and if you do, you're crazy. Sharpening your pencil is the least fun part of working with pencils. So why make it harder on yourself, you know? Would I recommend using oil pastel? No. Personally, I think oil pastels is a terrible medium. It's it's a mess, and it doesn't it doesn't really look that different than a good color pencil drawing. Honestly, I have to say that oil pastels, they are probably the worst medium to exist. They really just I just can't like them at all. No offense to any oil pastel. Just the name oil pastel doesn't make any sense to me. It's not even pastel. It just, yeah. There's just so much wrong with oil pastel. But yeah, like I said, no offense to anybody that likes oil pastels, but you're never gonna see me use them. Um, did I miss a question? If I happen to miss your if I happen to miss your questions, you can ask it again. I try to get everybody's question, but that's funny, Laura. There is a certain degree of satisfaction from getting your pencil sharp, but never so much have I enjoyed the necessity of it. I guess that's probably a better way of putting it. Nobody in perhaps you can enjoy sharpening a pencil and the satisfaction you get from the point, but the necessity of it, I would say, is not something that people enjoy. Oh, you like the music? That's good. This is just an old royalty-free playlist I made a while ago, quite some time ago. Oil pastels have gotten a little popular this year. They they're kind of the fad right now on YouTube. I keep getting recommended subjects that involve oil pastels out of nowhere, and I've never looked up any oil pastel anything. They kind of just popped up out of nowhere, similar to a couple years ago when soft pastels were popping up. Actually, that's what got me in to pastels, is that they kept popping up. And they were getting really popular, and I was like, you know what? Let me try out these. Let me try out these soft pastels, see what the big deal is. But oil pastels, I know better. I've used oil pastels before, so that is a fad I can live without getting into. It's funny, since I've been on YouTube for 7 years now. I've been doing this, and when I first got onto YouTube, the art fad was colored pencils, and I got into colored pencils shortly after I started YouTube. Because when I first started YouTube, I just did painting and graphite, and then I got into colored pencils thanks to the lovely Lisa from Lockery Fine Art. I was watching her stream yesterday. She got me into colored pencils, and then I was doing colored pencils for a few years, and acrylic painting became kind of the go-to for a little bit. It was brief. It was relatively brief, and I tried a few acrylic paintings. I've never liked acrylic paint. I think it dries too fast. It dries frustratingly fast. And I know before anybody says it, well, you can get stuff to make it not dry so fast. And yes, that is true. But if you're going to do that, just use oil paint. Like if you want your acrylic paint to act like oil paint, skip that whole step altogether and just go with the better paint, which is oil paint. That's my opinion on that matter. But anyways, yeah. And then soft pastels became the fad a couple years ago, and then about 7 months, maybe closer to a year, sculpting was getting really popular. And then now, I would say for the past 5 months, oil pastels have kind of been the thing that has been continuously popping up, that I've seen over and over again. And I've been asked, it shows up in chat quite a lot as well. I've been asked several times about oil pastels over the past 6 or 7 months. But I think I've settled. Yeah, I think I've settled comfortably into just pastels and colored pencils. And then maybe occasionally I'll do something different. But for the most part, I'm quite content with the mediums that I'm using at the moment. Let's see. Do I have any goals for the new year? Not really. Not in the realm of YouTube and stuff. I've kind of reached all the goals that I've wanted to meet. I've even exceeded the goals that I ever thought that I'd get from YouTube. And so I don't really have any goals like that. I think one of my personal art goals is to probably do maybe one large pastel piece and one large color pencil piece, kind of original work, just kind of something more personal that I may or may not do off camera. Not really sure currently. But yeah, nothing much oriented towards my YouTube channel or anything. I'm probably going to I'm gonna try to stick to the 4 live streams a week for the art club. So for 2021 and 2022, I want to try to maintain that 4 streams a week, so that for the next 2 years I can really build up just a huge, ridiculous library of tutorials on my website, and then stop. And so I'll have a ton of tutorials that anybody can sign up, and they'll just have access to all of those tutorials, and it'll just be a really big library of tutorials that people can utilize for however long that they want. And then I can just not do it anymore. That's kind of my long-term goal. It's not that I don't like to teach. It's not that I want to stop or anything like that. It's that I want to move on to something different, and maybe something a little bit more for myself and a little bit less for the teaching side of things. I don't know if I'll ever stop teaching. I'll always be willing to answer questions and all of that stuff, but just kind of move away from the tutorial side of things. That focus that I have right now, all of my projects are selected specifically for the purpose of creating a tutorial. Whereas in a few years, I probably want to move away from that and just do more personal projects and just do whatever I want, do larger projects. I keep my tutorials small for the sake of being able to finish them within a reasonable time. But I wouldn't mind doing some large projects and maybe get a little bit more into oil painting again. Possibly even make that my primary medium once more. Are all the past tutorials posted in the art club? Yes. I've moved all of the past tutorials to the art club. Even some of the tutorials that exist here on YouTube. So you don't have to search YouTube for them anymore. You can just, you'll see the project. Because I had a few requests to move those tutorials there as well, and I was like, well, these tutorials are free on YouTube. You don't have to sign up for them. But I moved them there anyway, just for the simplicity of being able to see them. And I'll probably move a few more of them there as well, because I haven't moved all of the public YouTube tutorials, just the private tutorials I've moved there. Gonna sign up right now? Awesome, thank you, I appreciate that. I had a few people sign up yesterday during the live stream as well, which I appreciate very much. All of the tutorials that I do on the art club are suggestions from people in the art club. I honestly don't remember the last tutorial that I chose the subject. So whatever subject you want to learn, I mean, all you have to do is come to the live streams and chat with me, and then make the recommendation, and then that's what shows up for the next project. I only ever really think of one more project ahead of what I'm working on, but I had one student ask me if I could do either a squirrel or a chipmunk, and I did both of them in the same project, so I pretty lenient with which projects I do. And then I had a number of people requesting a child portrait, so a non-adult portrait, and so I have a reference photo for that, and that will be the next colored pencil project coming up, probably in January or the end of December. Sometimes you're working while the time difference in the UK is not that different than my time. Like, it's just now, it's like 15 till 1300 for you. I'm only an hour ahead of you in Poland. So, I mean, the time difference isn't that drastic. But I can understand you're working sometimes, as are a lot of people. I mean, yes, it's great for you to be there for the actual live streams because you can ask questions during those and get answers in real time. But the tutorials, I mean, once I live stream them, they're always available for you to watch after the fact. So if you can't be there, it's perfectly fine. They're always archived, and they're very easy to find. Oh yeah, working till 5 Monday through Thursday. That means you'll miss the live streams, unfortunately. But yeah, they'll always be there after. And there's a comment section on all the projects. There's a little comment section below. So if you ever have any questions, you can always just post them there, and I can answer them either directly or during a following stream. The same videos on Patreon. So the only videos that are on Patreon are the older tutorials. All of those tutorials are also in the art club, but also the new tutorials are in the art club. And those new tutorials are not on Patreon. Patreon will not be getting any more. I do not recommend signing up for my Patreon. Much better to sign up for the art club instead. My microphone is fantastic. You can hear the pencil strokes? I didn't know that you could hear the pencil strokes. That's funny. That's like some ASMR type art video. Unintentional ASMR. Hopefully you can't hear the police siren in the background. It's really far away, it's very faint, but I can hear it. All right, which chunk of hair should I do next? This part here is blurry. all that part there. So I think I'll focus on this strand here. There's like I don't even know what color to use. I feel like this color should be used. I'm going to sharpen this pencil. Give me 30 seconds to sharpen this pencil. All right. Also, I wanted to ask. So, for some of you that were here yesterday, you noticed the clarity of my live stream. I changed some of my camera settings and lighting stuff, whatnot. Today, I turned my lights down. My lights were like super bright, and so I turned them down a little bit. And I'm curious if you think that it's too dark now. Is the live stream too dark from what it was yesterday? Would I consider doing a cityscape? Yes, I would definitely consider doing a cityscape. In fact, I've been wanting to do a cityscape for some time, but I'm super picky about my reference photos, and I've always had a pretty difficult time deciding on a cityscape. The big thing with cityscapes is that they are very time consuming because of all the windows. That's the only thing. Like cityscapes, they're not technically more difficult than other projects that I've done, but because of the amount of windows you encounter in cityscapes, they're very time consuming. So I've kind of always argued my way out of doing cityscapes because of the time constraint that I arbitrarily give myself. But aside from that, I would love to do a cityscape, and I'm totally willing to commit to one. Perhaps I will do one after the... now, are you talking about colored pencils or pastels? Either way, it's going to be a pain, so it doesn't really matter which medium. But I might be able to do one soon. Not dark at all. Perfect. That's good. Because that's what I felt. I felt like because my lights were a little bit over bright, it kind of faded the colors a tiny bit. And so today I decided to turn my lights down because I can control how bright they are. I have a lot of variability of change that I can do. And so I decided to turn them down to see if it would look better. And so thank you for the feedback. Have I watched The Queen's Gambit? Yes, absolutely. Hello, by the way, Marcy. The Queen's Gambit is awesome. Yes, it's so funny that you bring that up. I was hoping that somebody was going to bring it up, but I didn't want to bring it up. But I'm glad you brought it up because I know some of you know that I'm an avid chess player. I love playing chess, and so when I heard of the Queen's Gambit show, I was like, oh, I have to watch that, and it is fantastic. Oh, it's so good. Anya Taylor-Joy, she is on a whole nother level in that TV show. She is just so good. She is so good in that show. The best she's ever been, I swear. The best she's ever been. Everything about that show is so well done. It is so well done. Because even, like, I can understand that some people might not gravitate towards it because it is somewhat chess heavy, but even the way that they present the chess, they do it in a way that can be entertaining to literally anyone. Because chess really is, when you get into it, it really is as entertaining as that show does. There is one, as a chess player, there is one tiny tiny thing that I feel like they kind of missed out on the opportunity of doing, and that is draw. I think there's one draw that is mentioned in the entire TV show. There's a lot of top level chess playing throughout that show, and you really never hear about any draws. And a lot of times they're playing classical chess, even though it's always displayed as blitz. And they only mention a draw one time, and it's the very ending, like the end of the show. But at that level, draws are very, very common in classical chess. Getting checkmates and having your opponent resign is not as common as it is shown in that show. But regardless of that, I'm being very nitpicky because I'm a chess player. That show does just a fantastic job of making chess accessible to everyone. It is a great series for sure. But the reason the reason I'm glad that you brought it up, and I didn't have to bring it up, is because yesterday I was talking about fan art yesterday, and how I don't like to do fan art because I always feel like I'm piggybacking on somebody else's success if I display the fan art. But I'm totally breaking my rule with the fan art, because I am 100% gonna draw a portrait of Anna Taylor-Joy as Beth Harmon. I already have the reference photo. I was playing around with the photo yesterday and fine-tuning and everything, but I just can't not do it. She looks so good in that show. She just plays the character so well. Seeing her not as Beth Harmon feels weird. I feel like her natural state of existence is Beth Harmon, and when I see other pictures of her and interviews and stuff, and she doesn't look exactly like Beth Harmon, I don't know what I'm seeing. It feels wrong. Yeah, fighting with the lighting. I've been fighting with my lighting for years, Chrissy. So I know the pain. Nobody knows the pain like an art streamer when it comes to fighting the light. It is a painful, long and tedious and unrewarding struggle. And what I have found with these new lights that I'm using is finding a good lighting level. Now that you've confirmed that this looks pretty good, and I'll double check it later as well. I'll also check on my camera recording, make sure my camera is recording it well. But in OBS, there's some filters that I decided to try out. And so I have a little bit of contrast, a little bit of saturation boosted on OBS for the picture to look a little bit more clear. Very, very small changes, very, very small changes, just to get a little bit more of the richness of the color showing up, because I did notice that it looked a little bit flat. And so I just boosted the contrast and the saturation. Very, very small amount though. Because the same thing with drawing and artwork, as the title yesterday for the live stream suggested, it's all about subtlety. The same thing is with lighting and camera work and stuff. Small changes can make a really big difference. And so I decided to just make those really small changes. Oh yeah, the ice cream project is a fun one. Actually, I think I live streamed the ice cream tutorial on YouTube. Hello, Lincestka, if I'm pronouncing that even remotely close to what you intend it to be. Appreciate the compliments. I'm just going to focus on this little bit here for a while. I feel like I've been working on this section of the hair for like an hour now, making very little headway on it. One of the things I try to do is not, put in lines for strands of hair too soon. Try to keep it a bit softer and pinpoint those, pinpoint the dark shapes first. Just gotten into realism. Yeah, realism is kind of where I like to live in my art, but I also do very stylized drawings like this. This is what I draw like if I'm just drawing for fun. This is what I draw like if I'm practicing my realism. I don't really have a preference one over the other. I can have just as much fun doing projects like this as I do drawing things like that. I love creating my own characters and imagining their personalities and stuff. It's times like this where I really just want to grab my solvent and blend out this hair. Make it super soft and stuff, but I'm not doing it. I'm not blending it with solvent. it's not done, like this part down here, it's not done or anything either. Not really sure what I'm doing, to be honest with you. I'm kind of all over the place right now with the hair. It looks green to me. For some reason, it looks very green. And I don't like it at all. Maybe I can try some gray. When will I do the next live tutorial? For the art club, I live stream every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. For YouTube, I do these live streams random. So the best option is to just be subscribed and have notifications. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter. I don't always post on those other social medias when I'm live streaming. Very inconsistent with it. But if you're subscribed and you have the notifications turned on, then you'll be notified, hopefully. I mean, YouTube does their own thing. Every social media does their own thing. You subscribe or follow somebody, you have notifications turned on, and still somehow they choose that you don't want to be notified or whatever. I mean, well, I don't even understand what the point of being subscribed to somebody is if you also have to control your notifications, and even when you do have the notifications turned on, sometimes they don't work, and it's like, what are these companies even doing? Why do they even make these changes? Because I mean, YouTube used to not even have notification bells, and then they had them, and they don't even work half the time, and so everybody's always constantly confused on what they're supposed to do. But that's the best advice I can give you on getting notified for my live streams. Because I don't have a schedule for the streams that I do on YouTube, because I just do them when I feel like it. Did I get my play button? No, I did not. YouTube hasn't allowed me to. They haven't allowed me to get my play button. I don't know why, but when you reach a subscriber milestone, then you're supposed to get a notification in your YouTube studio that gives you the option to submit, like, for them to review your channel and to get your play button. And even though it's been 6 months since I hit 100,000 subscribers, or yeah, it's been close enough to 6 months. I think it was in July, beginning of July, that I hit 100,000. I have not yet received that notification of hitting that milestone, so I have no idea when, if ever, I will get my play button. I don't know, it could also have something to do with the current world situation. that they might be a little slow at such things. In which case, I'm not concerned anyway. I'm not concerned regardless. If I never get it, fine, whatever. I'll just move on with my life. It's not that big of a deal anyway. But maybe one day. It would be nice to have. I think it is a milestone that I can be proud of, and wouldn't mind having a little plaque for celebration. It'd be kind of the only thing that I would have in a reward sense that I would really care about. I don't even have my college diploma. I don't even have a physical copy of it. Let's see. Good morning from Florida. Well, hello, Ozzy. Yeah, patience is definitely a very important factor in producing good work. Yeah, it's probably the most important feature that any artist could have to do good work, is being patient. Hello, AKT from Brazil. And Ronnie. Welcome to the live stream. I'm glad you happened to randomly come across the live stream. This extends it. This is just a pencil extender. This pencil feels like it's getting a little dull. Also looks like it's getting a little dull. I really do not like the way this looks right now. I feel like I need an orange, but I don't know. Maybe I'll just focus on the value for now. Get the right value. I can always tone it later, which I intended to do anyway, so. There's a bit more pink in the hair. Maybe that's the color I need to add to start making it look like what I want it to look like. Oh, you take care, Chrissy. Thanks so much for coming by and hanging out. It was a pleasure. You have a good night, and I'll see you soon. Oh, thank you, Ronnie, for subscribing. I appreciate that. If you have any questions for me, I always like to take questions. And since you're a new subscriber here, I imagine there is a lot that that you don't yet know from me. So there's no limitation on the number of questions you can ask. And I never get enough. As many good questions have been asked today. you're all still well within the bounds of the number of questions I will allow. So pick up the pace. Quit slacking off. Oh yeah, so the pencil extenders, I mean, aside from, I don't have really short pencils. This is kind of the shortest one that I have in front of me. Like this is okay as long as the pencil's hitting here, right? As long as it's hitting that part of your hand, it's relatively comfortable to use. But I hold my pencils far away from the tip. Like I'm not always holding them really close, like when you write something. And so when I back away from that, say like this, for instance, I like to have that pencil still hitting my hand in that location. It's much more comfortable. Every once in a while, I'll hold the pencil like this, really far back, because you can't apply a lot of pressure, and that gives me a lot of control there. But yeah, that's why I like the pencil extenders, and I like to have my pencils like really extra long. Let's see, I needed the pink in the hair, using the same color that I used on the skin in a lot of places. Oh, thank you. Triforce Hero. I appreciate that. Glad you like my art. Good morning, Michael. So maybe I'll add a touch of yellow to the highlight here. Just give it a little bit of a golden glow. Oh, well, that's good to hear. I'm glad you have learned a lot from me. That's always a good feeling. You love her eye color? Yeah, I like her eye color too. I made it, I added like a touch more green, and then I added this yellow kind of mustardy color to just give that green a little bit of just a more nudge towards the yellow side, and I think it adds a nice glow to her irises. I love green eyes. My wife has green eyes. She has super pretty eyes. They're green among other colors as well, you know. You know how eyes are. They're always kind of shifting around their color. but my wife has really pretty green eyes. In fact, I have a sketchbook somewhere. I don't know. It's in my other drawer that I'd have to get up and get, but I have a colored pencil drawing of my wife's eyes that I did a long time ago. It was actually the very first time I attempted a colored pencil portrait. My wife was the first subject. Can you ask a controversial question? Yes, absolutely. The colored pencil, the colored pencil brand that I use, well, the brand that I'm using right now is Faber-Castell Polychromos, but it is not the most common brand that I use. The other brand that I use is Prismacolor. And these are my two primary colored pencils that I use, but in the past I've also used the Caran d'Ache Luminance colored pencils, but I haven't used them in a really long time, and I don't even have them in my studio anymore because I have mainly focused on teaching, and I think that for the teaching side of what I do, it's best to use products that are geared more towards beginners like Prismacolor. And I always recommend Prismacolor when somebody asks me what they should get. If they are interested in getting into colored pencils, I always tell them just get Prismacolor. Just get the full set of Prismacolor and start coloring. What is my opinion on art theft? So there's two ways I could read into that question. If you're referring to somebody that physically steals a piece of art, then obviously I think that's bad. But I think the question you're intending to ask is another artist work in some way and calling it their own. On a fundamental level, I don't necessarily have a problem with somebody copying my art and then trying to play it off as their own, because I feel bad for people that would have to do that to make themselves feel better. I feel like they're suffering even if they're unaware of it. I don't think that it will benefit them in any way. And whatever positive feelings they get from trying to take my work and pretend that it's their own kind of whatever you want to call it, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't really actually have a negative effect on me. So it doesn't really bother me all that much. I think that it's wrong to do, but for the most part, I just feel sorry for the person doing it. And that's about all I have to say about it, really. I don't think it's a big deal. Not at my level. Obviously, somebody that's copying more noteworthy artwork of a more noteworthy artist than myself, then perhaps on a legal side of things that might be a little bit risky, and I would strongly advise against it. But nobody's out there trying to buy my work. So if somebody takes my work and tries to call it their own and get prints made or whatever, they're probably not going to do real well anyway, because nobody's buying my artwork. Let's see here. What kind of sharpener do I use? I don't have I don't get that question too often with colored pencils. I often get it with pastel pencils because people are amazed at how well my pastel pencils are sharpened. But I use an electric pencil sharpener. The brand is Jakar, Jakar, and I've been using it for a couple years now, and it's fantastic. The downside of this pencil sharpener, though, is that it's only available in the UK, and it only comes with a UK plug. So I have to use an adapter. And if you're in the United States, I don't know if it works with the 240 volt system that the US uses. Because here in Poland and Europe, we use 120. So the voltage difference between the two countries is different. And so electronics, like I had a blender that I used in the United States that I loved. It was a Vitamix blender. And when I originally moved to Poland, I brought it because I love that blender. But it doesn't work here because the voltage is different. And so every time I would try to turn it on, it would blow the circuit. I have a studio now. Actually, Gila, we didn't move. Yeah, we didn't move. I didn't realize that that's how long it's been since I had like a regular live stream for you to ask those questions. But yeah, my wife and I, we didn't move. We ended up staying in our same flat, and we just kind of updated things. We bought a bunch of new furniture to kind of organize things better and declutter some stuff, give us more storage space, and then we also got a really big pantry for the kitchen so that we have more room for our food. And we bought a new refrigerator also, a larger refrigerator so that we have more room in the fridge also. The lady that we were going to, the flat that we were going to move into, she turned down our deal, and then she also was really, really bad at communicating. And so I just told my wife, I don't want to rent. I don't want to go into a contract with somebody that isn't responsible enough to simply make a phone call and to respond to us. So I was like, let's just stay here for at least another year. We'll stay in this flat and probably start searching again next year. I've also entertained the idea of moving back to the United States, but I don't know how realistic that idea is, because I don't really like the idea very much, especially in the, not to get political, but especially in the political climate the U.S. is in right now. I'm actually like super grateful I don't live there. Just don't know if it would be worth it right now. Can I recommend a desk lamp, which is pretty good for drawing? I got these random USB powered desk lamps from Amazon. I just got them offline. I didn't even, they had good reviews online, and I used those for a while. If you're just looking for a desk lamp to draw under and not make videos, then yeah, those USB powered lamps. I even live streamed with them for a long time, and they're really nice because you can just kind of plug them into your computer, or you can just plug them into a USB outlet, and they work really well. Let's see here. Can you get the pastel pencils sharp enough for fine detail? Yes, you can. Let's see here. I'll grab one of my pastel pencils that I recently sharpened. This is a really bad example, but I mean, you can almost not tell the difference between a colored pencil and a pastel pencil as far as sharpness goes. Because I use the same sharpener for this and for this. I can get, where's a really sharp colored pencil? I can get my pastel pencils as sharp as this right here. And that's about as sharp as you can get a pencil. So that wasn't even the sharpest pastel pencil that I can get, but yeah. That pencil sharpener that I have works really well for pastel pencils. That's why when I work with pastel pencils and I get the question, what pencil sharpener do you use? It's often brought on by the fact that I have like the sharpest pastel pencils on YouTube. I'm always getting that question when people see my pastel pencils, because if you use pastel pencils and you're curious about how I sharpen them, then you already know how difficult it can be to get them sharp. But for me, it's not sharp. It's not hard at all. What am I using to blend my pencils? This is just a paper blender. What do they call them? A tortillon? Or a paper blending stump? That's all this is. Nothing special. And that is like, it's like a decade old. Like, that's how old that blender is. So I've been using it for a long time. There's nothing special about it. It's super cheap. It's not like some high quality name brand paper blender or anything. I literally picked it up at random at an art store one time, like a decade ago. Let's see here. What else? Oh, you also draw shadow? That's cool. What colored pencils should you get that blend well? I recommend getting the Prismacolor set. If you're new to colored pencils, that's the set that I always recommend getting. And then I have a tutorial here on YouTube on how to blend colored pencils, and I show you several different methods and whatnot. But yeah, I always recommend just getting Prismacolor. It's a very solid brand that works well. You can get very high quality work with it, and they're relatively inexpensive. Unlike the polychromos here, the polychromos are, they're pretty expensive. A couple $100 for the full set of the polychromos. So the Prismacolor is half the price, even more than half the price, like maybe only 35 to 40% of the price that polychromos is. I mean, for the price of 24, for the price of the 24 set of the polychromos, you can almost get the full set of Prismacolor. Probably get like the 72 pack. So it's a really good deal to get the Prismacolors. What is my opinion on electric erasers? Wow, I've never gotten that question before. I bought an electric eraser. I bought the Sakura electric eraser, and it was very underwhelming. Like, I used it a few times, and then I was like, this is more annoying than just using a regular eraser. And so I think I threw it away. Maybe I didn't, but I have no idea where it is right now, and I don't have any intention of using it ever again. Not a very useful tool in my studio. It might be for some people, but I've never gotten much use out of it. The eraser I have now, I have the Tombow mono eraser, and I think that this one is really nice. And I'll be testing it out here probably before too long, to get some of those flyaway hairs picked up. But then I use also a kneaded eraser, and that's it. Honestly, I like the kneaded eraser the best out of all of my erasers because it's so versatile. It's very versatile. What do I think about digital art? I love digital art. It's I don't call myself a digital artist, but I use Photoshop a lot to do digital art. And when I do sketches, like not this particular drawing, because I did this drawing, I sketched it in here and then I inked it. But oftentimes when I'm creating characters like this for, just my own personal enjoyment, I like to sketch them in Photoshop. And then what I'll usually do is kind of refine the line art a little bit, and then I'll just copy it over to a piece of paper and then finish it off. And the reason I like to do that is because, of course, with digital art, that undo button is just pure magic. And so when you're just kind of sketching about, you don't have to worry about erasing if you're doing it digitally, which is just super, super helpful. And one of the things that I like to do, the reason I like it so much in doing it digitally instead, is because you can kind of sketch out a very broad pose or shape or something. And then what I do is I change the color from black to like a light blue, and then I redraw right over top of it. And then so I just continue to refine my drawing until finally I get something that I really like. And so that's just another positive of the digital side. And I've been putting it off, but I think what I'll probably end up buying next year is the Apple Pencil, so that I can sketch things in, what is that app called? Why do I always forget the name of that app? Somebody help me out. That app. And oh gosh, it's gonna drive me nuts. Somebody quick help me out. What is that app? Somebody has to know what that app is on the iPad. It's like Photoshop. It's not Photoshop, but it... Come on, somebody. Quickly. Go on, save me. Save me from going insane. Procreate, thank you so much, Matthew. Oh, what's up, Matthew? By the way, I didn't see you come into the chat, but good to see you. Yeah, anyways, so I was thinking about getting the Apple Pencil so that I could use Procreate and just sketch like sitting in bed or whatever, or while traveling or something. I could just kind of sketch out some ideas and whatnot. Let's see. Oh, hello, Claire. Good to see you as well. Can kneaded erasers be used for more than charcoal? Oh yeah, absolutely. I used them for everything. Everything. Oh, Matthew, I didn't see your previous comment when you did come in. I was almost to your comment before I saw you answer my question about Procreate. Oh, that's funny, Sergio, that you were using an electric eraser just before I started complaining about how unuseful my electric eraser has been. My electric eraser experience. Was there another question that I might have missed? Oh, do I own any vintage mechanical pencils? Actually, I do. But only because my wife owned it. So my wife's grandfather had a Koh-i-Noor, a vintage Koh-i-Noor mechanical pencil, and I can assure you that it is not very mechanical. It is not as convenient as the mechanical pencils that I'm used to today. When I do my sketching and stuff, I particularly use a mechanical pencil. Of course, I use only the best. I use a Graph Gear 1000, 0.5. I had a 0.3, but it was just a bit too delicate, and of course I always load it with 2B lead. The pencils I'm using right now is Polychromos. Let's see here. Let's go ahead with this color. Start putting in some of the lines on this section of the hair. I feel like I could go a little bit wider. Yeah, I feel like it comes up just a bit more. Maybe about here. Just kind of doing one really, really small section at a time, because this is very tedious. And I don't know, for you guys, does it even look like hair at this point? I feel like I've spent like all this time on this small section and I'm still waiting for it to look like hair, because there's still so much blank area. Yeah, Procreate is kind of a poorly thought out name for such a good app. I've used it before in the past, and I really, really liked the feeling of the Apple Pencil. It felt very pencil-like, almost like writing on paper. It was really good. But yeah, I agree. Not the best thought out name for the app. I get the play on words, but it's not a very good play. Not a very good play. But yeah, it is a really good app. I've just been putting it off because I've been really busy with other projects and stuff, and it just felt like one of those kind of impulse buys that it would be nice to have, but not, I wouldn't be using it often enough to justify the purchase just yet anyway. Just kind of waiting for things to slow down a tiny bit. Let's see. My opinion on mechanical colored pencils. Never actually heard of them. I'd say a mechanical colored pencil. I'm not sure. That would be kind of interesting. It could work well, but it would depend a lot on the quality of the core, so the lead of the pencil. I mean, if you're talking like professional quality level pigments, then that could be really kind of a game changer, actually. If you could kind of just use one pencil and reload it with the color that you need, that'd be kind of great. And then obviously the core would have to be much thinner than the core here because you wouldn't want to sharpen it. But if they could get those pigment cores down to, I don't know, probably about 0.8, I'd say 0.8 is probably where they'd want to get those core colors at, so that you wouldn't have to worry about sharpening it. You could always kind of have those relatively sharp tips coming out of the pencil itself. That would be kind of cool. I would be totally down for mechanical colored pencils of a high quality. But you have to take into account the softness of certain pigments, like the waxier pigments. You could probably get away with cores like this that are more dense, but with Prismacolor luminance type cores, you might not be able to. I also like the idea of not having wood, no more wood, because environmental reasons. Oh, let's see here. Try to keep up with chat the best that I can, but if I fail to, hopefully you can find it in your heart to forgive me. Inktense pencils. I've never tried Inktense. Never tried Inktense. They look kind of fun, like watercolor-esque, but permanent. And I don't really know much about them, but they looked kind of cool. I considered getting some, but I once spent like way too much money on art supplies. I've really slowed down. I've only so for this year, for 2020, this sketchbook here was the only purchase that I did for the entire year up until yesterday. And I didn't even pay for this because I am an affiliate with Jackson's Art Supply, and I had enough affiliate credit that I was able to get this sketchbook for free. And then yesterday I ordered more paper, several different brands of paper, alongside some more polychromos pencils. And I still barely had to pay for anything once I added my affiliate credit. to the purchase. And so I have managed to get through this entire year and only spend $38 on art supplies. As a professional artist, that is a ridiculously small amount. Oh, good morning, Juliana. Thank you very much. Glad you like it. Wow, Shadow, that's crazy. It's crazy that it's been that long. I'm glad that you're able to pop back in and hang out and watch a live stream. That's super awesome. So you're like in high school now, or yeah, you would be in high school. You're a freshman in high school. That's really cool. Most artists use them for sketching, but they are colored, so I don't know. Oh, you're talking about those mechanical colored pencils. Yeah, that's probably a better way of using them. Not like full colored illustrations like what I'm doing here. The June Gold mechanical colored pencils. Never heard of them. Yeah, I never really thought about mechanical colored pencils before until you brought them up. The idea of them never even crossed my mind as even existing, really. Oh, thank you, Triforce. I'm glad you liked that video. Yeah, I know Lisa uses the Inktense. That's where I first heard about them, was from her. And I was going to, I mean, I almost bought some, but I've been pulling really far back on my art supplies, because there was one year, actually it was just a couple years ago, where I spent, I think, around $9,000 on art supplies. Somewhere around 9,000 for the year. And a lot of the stuff that I bought, I don't really use, and so I feel like I needed to just rein it in, and so I did. Especially this year. This year I really knocked it down a few pegs, and went from one extreme to the other, barely buying any art supplies at all. I think it was 2018 that I spent about 9,000 in art supplies, and that was a mix between pastels and colored pencils and paper, lots and lots of paper. Paper's always a good thing to buy, as long as you're buying paper you know you're going to use. But I've bought in some paper that I know I'm not going to use as well. I mean, I don't even want to say how much pastels. I have a lot of pastel stuff that I may never use, and I spent a lot of money on it. It's sometimes you make mistakes on your purchases. That's all I gotta say about that. There is a such thing, and in my world, there is a such thing as too much art supplies, because I just don't have the time to use all of them. I bought an airbrush and a bunch of paint and I used it a handful of times. And as much as I'd love to use it more often, I just, I spend all of my time teaching, and I don't want to incorporate more materials because I want the people that are watching and learning to be able to realistically follow along. I don't want you to have all of this stuff to follow along. So I try to keep things as simple as possible for that reason alone. All right, let's see here. Maybe I blend this out a little bit more. I'm about to just use solvent. Oh my goodness gracious. This is super slow and tedious. But I want to see what I can get it to look like without using any solvent. Trying to think of what section of the hair I want to do next. I'm kind of thinking about doing this top section, try to get like the hair that's right up against her face done first, because that part of the hair is the most detailed and it's the darkest part. So I think I might just do that. I think I might just jump up here and kind of work in these areas a little bit. Oh, hello. I'm going to try to pronounce your name, Ashrafan. Hopefully I did your name justice, but welcome. Good to see you. Appreciate you joining. Alright, let's do this section here. The hair bunches up. It kind of goes right, kind of flows up this way and then just moves this direction. Kind of at a sharp angle. I think maybe I'll try to finish up this little section here, and I might call it a day once I finish this little section here. I'm getting a little hungry, and I don't like to draw hungry. I get impatient, and I think in order for me to continue doing this portrait justice, I need to remain vigilant and very patient. It's going to still take me probably like 15-20 minutes to finish this section. but I just wanted to give everybody a little bit of a heads up. Hope you've been enjoying today's live stream, as unscheduled as it was. If you have, be sure to give the video a thumbs up. I often overlook, forget, or just don't want to ask people to give the video a thumbs up, but I do appreciate it because it helps. It actually helps with the YouTube algorithm and all that nonsense. I really couldn't care less about the YouTube ranking system or whatnot. But it is helpful, and if you care to help, then it's free to do so, just with a click of a button. It is also nice to know that you guys enjoy the live streams. After I'm finished and I get to see how many thumbs up I got it, it's nice. Alright, let's add a little bit of black. Let's go a bit darker here. Am I going to start streaming more often? Well, I already stream 4 times a week normally. This is stream number 6 this week. So I feel like I already stream pretty often. But I stream for the art club on my website. So those ones aren't advertised here on YouTube. I won't commit to regular streams here on YouTube. Not scheduled anyway. Because, you know, with the 4 streams a week is quite a bit more than what I've been used to. I've only recently started doing 4 streams a week. And I want to keep it up. So I'm not giving myself any extra obligations so that I can keep those streams moving along, as that's kind of my that's like my primary source of my livelihood. So I need to make sure that I maintain that level of commitment that is required of me. But I do enjoy these streams, these impromptu YouTube streams. I love hanging out with all of you guys. I'll probably every now and again open up my private stream to YouTube so that you guys can kind of get a first-hand look of what the art club is like without signing up. But you can, of course, always sign up and you'll have access to those streams. Okay, Triforce, you take care. Yeah, that's another reason, Ronnie. I do like the spontaneity of the live streams. Keeps you guys on your toes, and I also just when it feels planned, it feels a little less organic and more like an obligation, you know. And so when I woke up today, I did not have the thought in my head that I'd be streaming. And so I just went on with my day like normal. My wife decided to go to her mom's, and I was like, you know what? I'm kind of in the mood to do some drawing. I might as well just turn on the camera, plug in the microphone, hang out with some really lovely people, as you all are, and work on this project. We get to have a good conversation. You guys get to watch me draw a bit and I can answer some questions, give you some insight, guidance, whatever you are looking for, and we can all have a better day because of it. I mean, I don't usually have anything going on Saturdays, especially if my wife goes to her mom's. Normally I just find some random new mediocre show to binge watch while I wait for my wife to return home with some tasty food. Because that's usually how things go. She goes over to her mom's and they end up cooking something delicious, and then my wife brings home some stuff and she feels less guilty spending the whole day at her mom's, and I'm satisfied with whatever tasty food they ended up making. Been trying to get my wife to make cookies, and I was, I brought it up earlier this week. I was like, oh, we should make cookies, and her mom and I must be on the same wavelength because she also brought up making cookies. And I was like, oh yeah, we can make cookies this Saturday, or you can, go to mom's and make cookies. So a big part of me is hoping that my wife's about to come home with cookies. She just makes these, I don't even know, they're just like sugar cookies, I guess you could say. But they're super tasty. I like them with some rice milk. I don't think I'm gonna get cookies today though. If I were to guess, maybe I'd get polpette. I don't know what the English word is. The English word for it is, I think, dumpling. I think dumpling is the English word for polpette. Dumplings, since it's plural. But she makes them pretty often with gravy. Oh, hey there, Diane. I didn't see you pop in. Where did you pop in at? Have you been here the whole time? You have been here the whole time. Weren't you here in the beginning? I think I said hi. Maybe it's just been so long since I caught your name in the chat that I forgot that you were here. All right, any more red? Red, orange, brown type color in here. Oh yeah, this is exactly the color that I needed. Yeah, I'm hungry and I'm talking about food. Yeah. I'm trying to think of what I'm gonna make. I don't want to make anything that's gonna take a lot of time. I'm trying to think of what I have in the kitchen. Could make a pancake. I haven't had a pancake in a while. I just ate all the raspberries though. Raspberry pancake is my favorite kind of pancake. If you've never had raspberry pancakes, you're missing out on the best kind of pancake. Blueberry pancakes, totally overrated. Blueberry pancake has nothing on raspberry pancakes. And the proper way to make blueberry pancakes is you pour the pancake mix onto the frying pan and then you add the blueberries so that they're nice and separated. But not with raspberries. That is not the proper way to do raspberry pancakes. The proper way to do raspberry pancakes is to mix them with the batter so that they're all broken up and it turns the batter purple. That's the correct way, just so you know. So if you make raspberry pancakes, don't do it like blueberry pancakes. You need to throw those raspberries in the batter, mix it up, and make the batter purple. Have I tried oat milk? I'm not a fan of the oat milk. My favorite is rice milk. I do like soy milk and coconut milk, but I find soy milk and coconut milk is usually a bit sweeter than what I like, and so rice milk has always been my favorite. It's always been my favorite. But yeah, I don't know very many people that rice milk is their favorite. Usually it's one of those other alternatives like almond. I do like almond, but only chocolate almond. Chocolate almond milk is the best chocolate milk that can exist in this universe. Chocolate almond milk is the best. You will not be able to convince me otherwise. Yeah, rice milk can sometimes feel like a little watery. It's very thin. Rice milk is very thin in comparison to like the thicker, creamier milk alternatives. But I love it. Alright, I'm going to try out this eraser now. There's like this one hair in particular that I've been wanting to try it out on. Let's see here. So I'm going to try that Tombow Mono eraser. Okay, so far nothing. So far not getting the result that I want. Okay, it's starting to show up. Starting to show up. It's a little tough, but it is starting to show up. I want this hair to come down through here. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, it's taken a while. It's doing something. It is sort of kind of a little bit showing up. Try to use a clean side. Because I have to go over the same spot like a lot. Yeah, it showed up pretty nicely. Maybe I can take this cream color. Oh yeah, that showed up great. Look at that. That's perfect. That's going to be a little bit harder with the super thin ones. I don't like the idea of trying the super thin ones. Let's see what this pencil can do if I just apply it with a little bit more pressure. Yeah, it doesn't. This alone doesn't really show up. There's like a hair through here that I want to add. Yeah, it doesn't really do anything by itself. So let's grab my craft knife. See if I can add Okay, see, that doesn't do anything. Yeah, it's not doing anything at all. Try to scrape up some of it. Okay, it's kind of showing up. I don't want to like press real hard or do anything crazy. Let's try a darker area. Yeah, it didn't really do anything. I can see the mark if I look at it the right way, but yeah, it's not really. I can see the mark that it's making and I don't like it. Let's try the eraser one more time. Some of these areas aren't quite fully done. Let's see, I marked it up with the knife. I erased it a little bit. Does that show up? That actually does show up pretty well. So it seems like if I take the eraser, let's see, there's like a hair through here that I want. If I take the eraser, and I can't see where I'm actually erasing, but it does seem to let that color show up a little bit more than it would otherwise. Let's see if I can put a flyaway through here. Yeah, not bad. Can't quite get it the way that I was hoping. I mean, these are really thin lines, and I'm trying to go even thinner than what like the scale allows me, because the tip of the pencil is not really capable of the thinness I'm trying to achieve here. There is some degree of just flat out being impossible. But I think I am going to call it a day. There are some flyaways up here that I wanted to try. How hard do I have to press? I don't want to like scratch it to some craziness. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I've tried the electric eraser. It didn't work very well. Oh, hello, Jay Singh. Awesome drawing, thank you very much. What is my name? My name is Will. How old am I? I am 31. Let's see here. Anyways, 104 people gave the live stream a thumbs up, and 3 people gave it a thumbs down. Interesting. Anyways, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm gonna go make some food and enjoy the rest of my Saturday. So I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Be sure to sign up in the art club. I have a link for that in the description. And I'll be streaming again on Monday for the art club, along with Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But hopefully I'll see you guys over there soon. And yeah, take care, and I'll see you next time. Peace.